Hi, Humayun.
Hello.
Hello. Just on time. We're gonna get started with the Twitter Spaces now.
Yeah, perfect.
Great, great. So, welcome everyone to another edition of our Roundtable Twitter Spaces, hosted by Morningstar Ventures. Today on the topic of the role of AI in the crypto space. And I was actually talking to Peter earlier, and we were thinking if we were in a physical setting right now, like in a big auditorium, and we were to ask everyone in the audience to raise their hands if they have seen something about AI in the news in the last 24 hours, we were pretty certain that pretty much everyone in the room would raise their hands because it has been everywhere. And of course, as we see more and more of an intersection between AI and blockchain, and also with big tech giants like, Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, Jeffrey Hinton, and Sam Altman raising somewhat polarizing opinions on the hyper-growing technology, we thought it was only fitting to hear expert opinions of three people today making their mark in the blockchain and AI space. So, joining our panel today are Sabin Dima from HumansAI, Pedro
Hello,
Rente.
everyone.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. Pedro Rente Lourenco from Dotmoovs. Hi, Pedro.
Hey, thank you for the invite.
Hello, thanks for joining. And Humayun Sheikh from Fetch.AI.
Hi.
Hello, hello. So, before we get started with our round of introductions from our guests, if you haven't joined one of our sessions before, we usually follow a certain format. So, I'm your host, Naini, and co hosting with me is my colleague, Peter. And just a couple of things to keep in mind. So, Peter and I, we will talk to our guests for about 30 to 40 minutes with with an open conversation Q&A, and then towards the end we are going to open up our floor to the live audience for any Q&A that you would like to directly ask to our speakers, to our guests. And if you have any questions in the meantime during the session, please go ahead and put them in the comments section below. And if you have any reactions, if you think something is funny or you agree, just hit the emoji button, and that can all be found on the right-hand side of your mobile phone app. Okay, that's it from my side. So let's get started with a round of introductions. We'll do it in good old alphabetical order. Humayun, Sabin, and Pedro, please introduce yourselves and how you got started in crypto. And please also tell us a little bit more about how your project is integrating AI into the crypto world.
Hi, it's Humayun Sheikh. I'm CEO and founder of Fetch.AI. Fetch started in 2018, so we're a reasonably oldish project in crypto terms. And my background is in AI. I was part of DeepMind, which sold out to Google, and I started in 2018 Fetch with the premise that a good combination of DLT, the ledger technology, and AI is a natural mix, and that was the premise Fetch was set on.
Thanks, Humayun. Pedro, why don't you go next?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Pedro. I'm co-founder and CEO of Dotmoovs. Dotmoovs has existed for about 2.5 years, so it's been quite an interesting 2.5 years of quite steady growth. Um, I think my first contact with crypto was ages ago. I've always been a bit of a geek, to be honest. So as soon as the technology was out, I was really interested, and got my first contact with cryptocurrencies then. And then started imagining, sort of different projects that could be done with the help of blockchain, and it sort of all materialized in Dotmoos, which has been sort of a dream of mine to work on sports performance and sports engineering since a very young age. So yeah, that's me.
Hi everyone, my name is Sabin. I'm an entrepreneur for life in technology. So I started when I was 16 years old. At 21, I created my first investment fund. I founded Humans 4 years ago. We started as a Web2 company, and 2 years ago we started to build our own blockchain. the blockchain of AIs. In 1 month from now, we will be live with our mainnet.
Cool. Thank you so much. And I would like to start our conversation with a short icebreaker question. What are some of the apps and services that benefit from AI that you use on a daily basis? Please let us know about something besides ChatGPT that we all use on the daily basis.
I can start. So, a couple of months ago, we tracked in our ecosystem a proprietary large language model that we intensively train in on Web3 data. It's not released. It's in alpha version right now, and I'm using it day by day to see what's happening in humans community. It's a lot of conversation over there. We have discussions on Twitter, on Telegram, on Discord, and I'm asking Brain, it's his name or his name, and I'm asking what's happening in the humans community. And he summarized what's happening there, and after that I can have a conversation based on those data. And besides the I think we have AI embedded in all of the product that we're using. But about the brain, I'm aware that I'm using it every day.
Great. I think every founder of each Web3 company and even Web2 company wants to use such a tool to track community sentiment. And Pedro, Humayun, how it's
and
on
also,
your side?
sorry, and also the community members. So if you are invested in 20 coins, I think it's impossible to keep the pace with what's happening in every community in part. So Brain can help you understand in real time what are the interesting conversations there. Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
Apart from ChatGPT based solution, we have a bot swap, which is we have agent integration slash AI integration within our wallet. So you can actually ask questions, get information, keep track of different communities all in one place with the Fetch kind of wallet. I use it personally quite a bit, and I think there's new releases which add new features of automation based on machine learning and AI all the time. So that's my current use of it in Web3 space.
For me, I would say, well, obviously the Dotmoovs app, that's my favorite one. It has to be. But besides that, I think, there's some cool stuff out there. One that I use every now and again because always find the results quite interesting is Midjourney. It basically leverages the generative image creation, basically, kind of AI, and I find that quite interesting. But I feel like we're in a phase where everyone's talking about it and everyone's looking for the next AI application, but I feel like it's so embedded into our lives that, every time we use Twitter, every time we use Instagram, Google, etc., we're interacting with AI. So, it's impossible to escape it.
Great use cases. Yeah. Nice to hear also a little bit more about your own projects and what you're using on a day-to-day basis. And we will dig deeper into your projects as well a little bit later into our conversation. But just to kick off the conversation about our topic today, which is obviously exploring, how AI is kind of coming into the crypto space. So of course, all three of you guys work in this sector, and you're combining some of the most complex technologies, which is blockchain and AI. So how do you think blockchain and AI are complementary to each other? And while you guys have been creating your projects, what are some of the challenges that you have come across while trying to combine the two? Humayun, do you want to kick that one off?
Yeah, sure. So it would be good to kind of give you a little bit of a background on why and what is Fetch about. Our objective is not just a Web3 objective, although we're combining blockchain with AI. Our objective here is to enable people to do all the Web 2.0 tasks, the e-commerce tasks, all the things that we do naturally in real life in Web 2.0, and convert that into a mechanism where you can automate them and autonomously execute them. So things like finding a restaurant which makes it easier rather than the owners being searching for you. You just go and deliver a request to your agent, and the agent goes and performs all these tasks for you and brings everything to you rather than you doing the search and you doing the booking. So that's really what the Fetch premise is, and part of this whole premise is to build applications. It's to enable you to interface with it. So that's really how we approach this problem. But to do that, you also need to build machine learning models, and these machine learning models need training and data auditability, and we kind of put it all together, and that's where the whole blockchain kind of comes in, where we actually keep the record on the blockchain. We actually keep the record, and so it's more explainable AI. We don't particularly work with the generative AI as such, only that we create these responses which come from generative AI. The rest of it actually is bringing all of this together in a more coherent, intelligent, and autonomous way so they can actually deliver a task. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavor. Yeah.
Go next if you want. I think for us, we never really had the goal of combining them together. For us, AI and blockchain are complementary tools to build our platform. So obviously we use AI for processing all of our videos within Dotmoovs. For those of you listening that don't know Dotmoovs, go and check us out. But a brief intro is that you basically film yourself doing some sports training, and then we use AI to extract information from your video and give you a score on how you're performing. And that has been our way of creating a more engaging way of doing sports, a more gamified way of looking at sports, and sort of creating that community and interaction between our users as well, because it becomes more competitive. So obviously AI is at the heart of all of this, but in order to enable the platform, we wanted to leverage blockchain to create that game economy behind all of it, to also keep it more interesting. You can actually earn as you move, and it sort of is complementary for us, and not so much a combination.
Sabin, how about for you?
Just to give you a little bit of context, but maybe more philosophical, we are looking at AI, and we know that it's the most powerful tool ever created by humanity, and we see it as nuclear power. But it can be an atomic bomb, or it can be an atomic power plant. So we are creating, so that means that this incredible technology that you can create anything, maybe you don't want to create anything with it. For example, my AI, it's able to speak in Portuguese and in many languages in real time, languages that I don't know. So I can speak anything, but maybe I don't want to speak anything. So we are creating the first layer 1 blockchain of AIs. It's built on top of Cosmos SDK. It's EVM compatible. It's interoperable with all the major blockchains, with the purpose to create this trust layer, but in the same time to increase the pace of technology. So through blockchain, it's undebatable if you own an AI. It's undebatable if you decide to operate an AI and to create an output with my voice, or to govern it, to retrain it, or to change to change the model. But in the same time, using permissionless technologies, imagine that every developer can create the economy of his AI, and he can finance his idea in seconds. More than that, through permissionless system, he can onboard more developers and more data providers. So this is our focus in creating this trust layer, but in the same time to increase the pace of technology, in innovation.
Cool. Thank you so much for the great thoughts on combination of AI and blockchain integration it into your products. And here I wanted to come to the topic of regulation. How does the regulation come into play? Because both crypto and AI are so new technologies, and we see sometimes regulation challenges both for products from these industries. And I wanted to ask, what have you experienced while building your projects in terms of regulating restrictions or regulating challenges for combining and doing products both in crypto and AI industries?
I think regulation can be a bit of a double-edged sword. It's I think it's no doubt that we need regulation in both spaces, and regulation has been appearing more and more in both spaces. But regulation can also take away a little bit of how interesting the space is. I think blockchain for a long time has been a very interesting place because of the lack of regulation, has allowed a lot of innovation to happen. But I actually think that in blockchain, we're coming to a point where regulation can be helpful to make sure that it is more widely adopted. Cryptocurrencies can be more widely adopted if there is regulation and financial institutions get more on board with cryptocurrencies, which is happening anyways. But in order to have that mass adoption, things need to be regulated. In the AI space, you've seen that coming along for a number of years. The biggest piece of legislation in the last few years is probably things like GDPR or e-privacy that regulated the usage of data, which is the bread and butter of any AI system, in a way that protects the privacy of consumers. And that is key to create that trust in the system as well, and to create that transparency as well. You see things like the European Union's AI Act, which is being discussed, and it's a massive document that it's very, very difficult to read, I would say. But it is an effort to try and create some rules and regulations around the technology in order to make it safe, in order to make it trustworthy, in order to lead to that mass adoption. So it can be very good, but it will always come with some restrictions. That is the definition of regulation, isn't it?
I think that AI industry should be self-regulated. So definitely we need a framework that should increase the trust and the transparency layer, like Pedro is saying. We invested a lot, at least we were aware for years about the ethical in AI. And just to give you an example, one of our latest project that was developed in our ecosystem is the first AI counselor of a prime minister. What we did, we are training an AI using citizens' opinions. And after that, the governance can have a conversation with the data. So they can have a conversation with 19 million Romanians like they're talking with one. Imagine ChatGPT talking with ChatGPT. If ChatGPT will know what are the problems of every Romanian. And we are self-regulated. So we created an ethical board, and we are invited politicians, journalists, tech specialists. It's an ongoing process. Being pioneers, and our speaker colleagues from this call, everybody, it's a pioneer. So the innovation will be always in front of the laws and legislations. I think it's in our responsibility as big companies to self-regulate the industry.
Yeah, I'll slightly disagree with you on that, although it's a very wonderful utopian idea to self-regulate, and we have tried in the past, and I agree with Sabin that we have. But the problem is that there's always going to be this small amount of people who are not going to be, tamed, and that kind of spoils it for everybody. If everybody played nicely, then yes, we can self-regulate. I think regulators need to come in, and they need to come in now, especially where the training of these models is concerned, and these copyright issues, training of models, governance of these models and even the economic dispensation of these models is concerned, they need to come in now, because what's happening here is these big corporates, people who hold a lot of data, are actually using them for their own benefit without any economic value transfer happening to anybody. And very quickly, we are replacing or removing the need for jobs. Like, if you think about it, we're not far off where coders are going to have a problem because ChatGPT type applications could actually write the code for you. So what happens? I mean, who did we train? Whose code did we train all of this on? And how is anybody else going to make any money if you're not going to pass the economic value down the chain? Maybe my code was used to write, to kind of train this model. So what do I get out of it? Lose a job. That's what I did. So regulator needs to come in now, and it needs to come in strong and hard on the data and who these organizations are who are using this data to train these models. There are some areas which might not be as clear, but this area is definitely clear, which is, a chatbot or a GPT which is delivering either using copyrighted material, is delivering text or stories or news pieces or any kind of writings, and one company gets paid for it, although it's been trained on everybody's data. So these problems are imminent, they're now, and we should be dealing with it, and the regulator should be already coming in strong. We're already quite late. So that's one part of it. The other part is, I think, more relevant to, okay, they also need to be very engaged with the developers. They need to understand what we're developing. And if they don't, then is obviously going to completely suppress the development, because they could overregulate, as I think both the other speakers have said. If we overregulate and stifle the growth in the tech in itself, then that's a bad thing too. So I think the responsibility is now really on the regulator to understand the technology but come in now to start regulating it.
If I
I agree with what you're saying, but it's only one party who did that, and the risk is to not to kill the whole industry, but to reduce the pace of innovation. So when I'm saying that we need to self-regulate, I'm saying that we need to provide alternatives of good practices
Sure.
to the authorities.
Yeah.
So for sure, blockchain, it can provide this transparency layer. For example, in our scenario, when the AI counselor of a government, it will be the use of blockchain can make a lot of sense because you want to be very transparent if your opinion goes in the training data for the AI. So using the same technology, it should be, and you should be very transparent, and you should be reward very fairly every stakeholder, every data, every piece of information or the technology that creates a value with that output. So I think it's in our job to pursuing our pioneering in AI and blockchain and provide to authorities feasible solutions, and how can we can create this framework through which increase the pace of innovation, but in the same time to reward fair every contributor.
Sure. Yeah, I
I
agree.
think this is a space where blockchain has a very clear application, and I couldn't agree more. This issue about the ownership of data and the copyright is something that we should have learned by now. We should have learned from the examples of Facebook, for example. When everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this is a free product," but it's not really free because you're basically paying with your data. And it feels like we keep not learning from a regulation perspective. But I would say that in order to do more than that, we need not just regulation, but we need education. We need to work with the regulators, as you were saying, Humayun, that probably don't really understand exactly what is being built. It needs to be a sort of a more collaborative environment than it usually is with regulation, in order to not stifle innovation too much, because there's always going to be an element of stifling innovation. So I think we need education and to work with the regulators, but also education in the general public, because there's a lot of people that probably don't understand exactly how these systems work, what are their limitations, what they should expect, or even how to interpret the results. We see that across multiple industries, and people now that there is a lot more hype about AI in particular, people are keen to implement things that they don't really understand and that can have quite nefarious consequences. So I'll say that education needs to come hand in hand with that regulatory framework.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, really enjoying listening to you guys during this conversation, because it's also a lot what we're hearing, in the space at the moment. And Humayun, you kind of kicked off the discussion with saying that regulators, they need to hold the responsibilities. And then Sabin, you were saying that it's actually like a mutual thing that also you guys are responsible for. And Pedro, I completely agree. I think education is a key factor in not just the crypto space, but especially when it's also combined with the complexity of AI. So can you guys maybe give us a concrete example of what you in your projects are doing to ensure that everything is used responsibly and transparently?
I can quickly kick off with one component of our whole tech stack is called co-learn. And what is enabling you to do is to build machine learning models in a collective manner, which means that several stakeholders can contribute data to training of the model, but there is all the tools available to ensure that you deploy the model as a collective, as a either as a DAO or a collection of people whose identities are obviously connected to their wallets, and every time they submit training or every time they train the model, it automatically has a consensus mechanism which people can agree or disagree, and there is an audit trail which is there, which not only identifies what the contribution was, it also identifies the data, who was responsible for providing the data, without sharing the data. So the data privacy is always there. And then once you have trained the model, the economic value exchange and the distribution of the economic value goes to all the stakeholders who actually train the model. So that is one component of the Fetch tech stack called co-learn, which is already in place, and we're starting to see some uptake on it, not just from academic people, but more industry use as well. So that's like one example. There are several others, but I'll let other speakers come in.
For us, I think it's mostly around privacy. So obviously we're dealing with people's image, people's videos, and giving them full control and visibility around the privacy of their videos and how they're going to be used has been a key component of our communication and the user experience within, as we are building the app. I think that more than anything, it's a necessity nowadays. People are more switched on these topics, so you can't even get away with the things that you did in the past. Nor should you. It's a really good thing that people are very aware of these issues. I think for us, communicating clearly and being very transparent about what we do, how we use the data, how the algorithms operate, what kind of things we're exploring next has been key to create that trust in the community. And so I would say that that's our main approach to it. We're also working on our ethical framework in terms of how we use the consumer data, the experience within the app, to see how we evaluate the ethics of each one of the use cases, to ensure that we're doing the right thing.
The whole purpose of our blockchain is to create a transparent and ethical framework for use of AI and development of the AI. And I think what we can do and what we are doing, it's One is at a technical level, so we're using zero knowledge to ensure a supply chain from the input to the output without having access to the data. But maybe the most important part, so you can solve this problem as a technical level, but technology every day becomes obsolete. So as I said earlier, what we are doing, we are pioneering in this domain. But maybe the most important thing that we can do is to be united. So there are a few companies in this space of AI and blockchain. But as I said, we are doing this for 4 years. For 2 years, we started working on our blockchain. And I think the most important part is to share knowledge between the companies. And that's the reason why we initiated what is not ours, an AI alliance. And I officially invite, and I would be happy to work with Fetch.AI and with Dotmoovs, and to share opinions and somehow to try to self-regulate and to give those positive examples in what are we doing. I don't believe in competition, so the more AI is going to change everything that we'll know. There are so many AIs to be created. We were always saying that 99% of the AIs from the futures are not created yet, because everybody is saying, okay, ChatGPT closed the market. Not yet. So it's important to be united and to develop in the same direction. It's not a competition because the market is huge, and there are just a few companies that are really innovating in the space.
Thanks, Sabin. It's great that you are arranging these partnerships directly on our Twitter space, and hope something will turn out after our roundtable, and continuing the conversation of centralized and decentralized models of AI. At the moment, most of AI models and AI-based solutions come from huge decentralized Web2 domains. And on this front, you're developing a new decentralized AI ecosystem called AIverse. And what are the main advantages of decentralized model, and which benefits and challenges are you experiencing? Could you please let us know more about how this decentralized ecosystem will be different from all existing centralized AI solutions?
Just to explain a little bit more what's the concept around AIverse, that we're calling the physical world universe, the digital world metaverse, and what we're building, it's AIverse, is this planet that somehow stands between us and imagination, to which you can go, and like you're going to Amazon and buy electronics, here you can go and buy superpowers. So you can be a superhuman. And I'm saying for years that AI can help you make a superhuman, but I never felt it like 100% until I heard myself for the first time speaking in Portuguese. It was this feeling that without any effort, but just trusting the system to provide a data and to receive this AI model that can scale my potential, basically. So this is the AI verse. But in technical word, it's the blockchain of AIs. And as I said earlier, and so important to create the trust layer. And it's undebatable. You can own it, you can use an AI, and you can govern it. But in the same time, you can create the economy of your AI. Imagine ChatGPT token, and imagine how a large language model, if you are developing in the Web2 space, what's the pace of innovation there? How hard it is to recruit developers and create interviews and negotiate every data set. And imagine ChatGPT on the Web3 space with the right rules, with the fair rules. We see it that you can have a bigger model, and you can have hundreds of thousands, millions of developers, millions of data providers that uh, that will accelerate the innovation. So probably you cannot decentralize the model, but you can decentralize the relationship between stakeholders, and to somehow go back to the initial principles of Web3 that I think they were lost in the last cycles. Just to give you one example, we figured it out that knowledge is the new commodity. So everyone with $20, they have access to knowledge. They can ask ChatGPT. So somehow the new luxury is the question. So Newton was the first was asking why the apple was falling. So ChatGPT takes the usage, takes the money, takes the data, and everything is theirs. In our own large language model, that it's on Web3. If you are the first who's asking a question, what is Bitcoin? That question is yours. The system rewards you because you sparked the innovation, rewards the curiosity, and every time somebody else it's using, it's asking the question, you will be rewarded for that. So you can decentralize the stakeholders and their relationship. And I think that's our bet, that if you put two identical large language models, one in Web 2 and one in Web 3, the one in Web 3 in years from now will be more stronger.
Thanks, Sabin, for expanded view on the AI verse concept and the whole philosophical concept of AI, and especially about the relationships between data and question as a new luxury. I think it's a great thought. And diving deeper into products, Pedro, Dotmoovs, your sports app, leverages an AI algorithm to read users' mood and assign them a score. And on dancing challenges or soccer challenges. And are you thinking of expanding into other industries? And if so, which one? Because tracking systems are very exciting and promising technologies, and really would love to hear more about new directions.
Sure. So, well, first of all, we're planning on expanding to new sports. That's something that we have been working on for a while. We're going to be releasing a new sport of fitness very, very soon. Because one of the things that excites me the most about the way we've built our app is the versatility of the AI framework. So the way we've built it is that it's agnostic of whatever sport you're playing. We then on top of that, build our scoring system. So that's something that we have been working on, and that sort of unlocks new opportunities with other industries as well, beyond Dotmoovs. When we're talking about tracking technology, what we need to remember as well is that it can be quite dangerous. So a couple of years ago, there was a lot of talk around, tracking and surveillance and particularly facial recognition, a lot of algorithms that were perfectly biased because of the training data, and the training data was biased in itself. So we need to be very, very careful with that. But there are some really cool applications, for example, looking at smart buildings or smart cities, looking at using cameras to sort of see the flows of people, privacy preserving, aggregated data, all of these things that sort of ensure that we are doing the right thing once again. But that's a very exciting place to be because, the more data we get about how we behave, the more we can optimize the environment as well for people. So that's one of the potential applications, but there are several. And one more thing that I'd like to say on this point is regarding the collaborative nature of this space. There are multiple examples, and I think in the last few months we saw a couple of backtracking examples in terms of open sourcing and all of these things. But we are trying to obviously protecting our IP, etc. But we are considering the possibility of open sourcing some parts of our technology because we think that they could be beneficial for others. And I think that's something that has always excited me about this space, is that a lot of companies have developed amazing models, amazing frameworks, amazing architectures, and then they've open sourced them, and that has led to more and more development. And I think that's something that we're very keen on keeping in mind and discussing and and evaluating in a way that obviously doesn't hurt the project, but that also fosters innovation in others. So it's definitely something at the top of our heads.
Thanks, Pedro. Totally agree with you that open source, especially with the Web3 collaborative spirit, can give us more progress in AI technology and AI combined with blockchain technologies. And we are really looking forward for new releases from Dotmoovs in terms of new products and in terms of new technologies as well. And Humayun, recently Fetch.AI announced your agent-based trading tool where you you will use AI solutions for decentralized exchange trading. Can you please explain this tool a bit more, and which problems are you trying to solve in terms of security and trading user experience for decentralized exchange traders?
Yeah. So at the moment, and I think this is conceptually a different way of looking at it. It's not just to do the trading tools. It's to actually change the decentralized exchange model. So at the moment, when you have a decentralized exchange, you have the DEX, you have a smart contract which sits in the middle. The purpose of that smart contract is that people provide liquidity to that model, they lock up their tokens, and then other people can actually draw on that liquidity and they can trade from that. So our model is completely different. We're saying you do not need that central point of failure. So if your DEX smart contract is flawed or somebody hacks it, all the funds are gone. People have put money in, are gone. We are saying you don't need that smart contract to sit in the middle. What we're saying is that your agent, your AI-based agent, can hold the tokens for you, and it can actually fulfill all your needs, which is, I want to trade this token for this price, and go find me liquidity. It doesn't have to be the liquidity from a centralized exchange, or even the DEXs have this central point of failure, because if every DEX has this contract which sits in the middle, which somebody has written and kind of provided liquidity to and could be hacked. So if you now remove that, then to hack such a system, you'll have to hack each and every agent. Each and every agent who's holding the tokens, and the agents are holding the private keys for the users, and the users are in control. So it's a fundamental change in the way the decentralized exchanges work. And secondly, you can automate much quicker and easier. So, for example, you can attach a particular type of bonding curve to your agent and say, go trade based on this, and it will go and either sell or buy based on some kind of algorithmic model. It could be a more complex AI model, or it could be a very simple linear model. So the tools we're providing the market is to get rid of the DEX smart contracts and actually do a proper peer-to-peer peer-to-peer trading with liquidity tools which enable you to do peer-to-peer with enough liquidity. So that's what the tools actually deliver.
Thanks, Humayun, and congratulations again on the launch and also the recent round that you went through. It's exciting to see your project grow and all of your projects, and also what we're going to be expecting to see in the future, right? I can imagine that AI, it's still just like crypto is. It's still such a small space that has a great potential to develop. And Sabin, just quoting one of your one of your talks, you were saying it's one of the most powerful tools that's created ever, and that's definitely to be seen. We have a lot of builders and obviously founders, creators in this Twitter spaces that join that look for inspiration. We're almost at the end of the session between me and Peter and you guys. So for our last question, we just wanted to know, what is your advice about what we can expect in the future of AI and crypto, and what builders need to watch out for when they want to enter this space?
If I just kick off, I mean, obviously nobody knows the future, so we can only kind of give our predictions based on what we know. I think we are at the beginning, and a lot of people are seeing, this whole generative AI as like a kind of the big thing. Yes, it is very big, but it's not. I mean, it's only the beginning, because you need to kind of go past that generative part, and you need to say, okay, here's what this text-based generative or image-based generative AI can do, but how do you then take that output and how do you convert that into more action-based things. So, and what kind of framework do we need to deploy that on? Because then you can actually, so for example, you can generate an email, but you need to then connect to this email server to send that email. So if you extend that same logic to many other things, you want you want this AI large language model to do something. The next stage, which I mean I see coming very very soon, is how do you change those prompts and how do you change those outputs into meaningful actions? So that's a very immediate future. And then further along the line, although we are not there yet, artificial general intelligence is, one of our kind of key reasons why I was involved in DeepMind and why DeepMind was formed, is it's going to be there, and we're making very good progress towards it, but it's slow. So while we are focusing on saying, okay, that's the blue sky thinking, we need to use today as the ability for developers to actually start using that as a tool to generate revenue, build new business models. Because the business models of this new kind of immediate future are going to be very different from what we're used to in the past e-commerce model. So I would encourage developers to go and try out some of these new things and build some new applications which use all of this and not be scared of it as such.
I would say, I would agree with this. I think I would advise everyone to educate themselves, learn more, explore more, and also at the same time, in crypto, we usually say do your own research. It applies here as well, don't just fall for whatever people are selling you. Actually do your research. Try to understand if things look like they're being done properly, if they're ethical. Question, because in a space where innovation is so fast, it's very easy to be fooled because there's a lot of flashing lights, a lot of loud sounds, and it's whoever shouts the loudest sometimes that gets the advantage. I think we need to all be wary of this, and particularly as builders in this space, to really make sure that we are on top of the new technology as much as we can. We won't be able to be on top of everything. It may be a bit too much, but to the extent possible, do some research, educate yourself, and build with the confidence that you are doing the right thing.
I think that this tool is so disruptive. That it's a tool that creates other tools. The last invention, because it's an invention that will create other inventions, that it's so disruptive that I think that the whole idea of a startup will disappear. So why to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to hire 40 developers and create a POC in 6 months when a team of two programmers can create an AI agent and do it in days. So the AI economy will be so big that will surpass our current economy. That's for sure. But the question is, what will be the framework in which we will create the 99% of the future AI? It's still a huge opportunity for the builders, but they need to focus on developing AI models, developing AI agents, or building on top of AI models as well. So I think it's going to change everything that we're knowing in terms of users. What we are saying, that there will be two species, humans and humans.ai. I've read an interesting tweet. They will be AI will not take your job, but a human using an AI will take it for sure. So AI is going to change the world as we know it from a user perspective, but also from a developer perspective and from a startup perspective. So time will tell, but it's important to be very active, curious, and do something in this space. Just do something. Stop reading about AI, and it's a lot of knowledge on the internet. start building, but choose your ecosystem that you truly believe in.
Well said.
Well said, Sabin and Human and Pedro. Thanks for your thoughts on that. Yeah, I think there's endless possibilities, right? I also wonder, while you were talking, Sabin, I was like, oh, I guess also a little bit with what you're doing is one day, am I going to be hosting these Twitter spaces, or will it be an AI asking you the questions?
Actually, our guys had a model that you can speak in real time with my voice. So maybe it's not the real me. Who knows that?
That's, you know what? We'll put that up for a vote. Is it you or is it not you? We'll never know.
That's why Twitter.
insightful.
That's why Twitter should be on Web3. We could verify your voice on the blockchain.
The voice sounds the same. What we need is proof of human. So we need to know. We are saying this for years, but now OpenAI said it as well, that it's impossible to know if you're talking with a real human from a vocal perspective, how it sounds or how it looks, but also from an intelligence perspective. So it will be fair to know for sure if I'm talking with a real human or an AI.
Definitely. Thanks for answering our questions, guys. We're going to open up the floor to our audience. So, excuse me. For anyone who has a question that they would like to ask one of our guests, please feel free to either type that into the comment section or to put it or to raise your hand or request to speak so you can ask a question directly. While we're waiting for questions to come in, why don't we go with a little, we have some questions.
We have some Dotmoovs fans.
We have
in
Dotmoovs
comment
fans.
section.
Definitely.
It's because we're in sports, you know.
Yeah. It's a good place to be. All right. I don't see any questions coming in at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll go a little bit round robin. What can our listeners and also some of the community members of yours that dialed in expect in the next couple of weeks, months, the next year in terms of roadmap? Any alphas that you would like to share with us on the call?
Well, I can start. Or yeah, we
Go ahead.
released a campaign where we're showcasing a lot of the technology. We have released a roadmap which kind of tells you what's coming. But I'm quite excited about we're going to be starting to showcase some further technology in June, which I'm really quite excited about. I think people would love to see that, and that's a big step change from what we have showcased till now. So, stay tuned.
For us, there's a lot of exciting things coming up. Obviously, the release of our new sport, fitness. Really, really, really excited about that. I think that is something that anyone can do. You know, it doesn't require any special equipment, and we're working a lot on our detection of different exercises, making sure that we can provide training plans, and we're working on something that we're going to trial. We're going to see how it works, but we're working on a fitness coach kind of chatbot that basically creates a tailored training plan to the extent possible. Obviously, we're not trying to replace PTs, but that's something that we are quite excited about to see, how people will use it, and how it pairs with our new sport in the app. And this will come in the next month or two. That's what we expect.
On our side, it's our main event so far. We are launching on 29th of May, almost 1 week from now. Our mainnet, the blockchain of AIs, will be live. We are very happy that it was a huge interest from the validator side. We have more than 1,000 validators in the testnet. They compete for a 50 slot, the slot of 50 Want to thank you on this note to Maria Moonstake P2P. So I have a lot of incredible validators, and we're very proud that they uh, are on our side, and they believe in AI and blockchain.
Thanks, guys. I think you said it well, right? Humayun, stay tuned. There's a lot going on. In the meantime, we have gotten a request from someone called Code Red. You seem to have a
Oh dear.
question, so I'm going to let you. Code Red, love it. You're connecting, so you can ask your question in just a little bit. Twitter Spaces is not as quick yet to connect people to speak, unfortunately.
Hello.
Hopefully
Can you guys
that'll
hear me?
happen in an
Hello.
update. Hello.
Hey,
Please ask your
yes,
question.
hey, hi, Humayun. Quick
Hey.
question. Howdy to everybody. Thank you for the spaces. Hey, is there a
I see it's still connecting.
Oh, hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I see there are some
Okay,
questions
great.
in our replies as well.
Perfect. So okay, real quickly, you guys can hear me. Okay, great. Humayun,
Yeah.
with Hasabi's being head now of DeepMind Google,
Yeah.
and you guys having a pretty long history of working in AI, and is there a possibility that maybe it might be where it's is there a possibility for Fetch.AI to be able to collaborate with Google DeepMind in some cool projects? And what is the update on Bosch, and also decentralized delivery network? What's the updates on
Sure. It's quite difficult to say with a big beast like Google to collaborate on anything or not. I think this whole space will be collaborating, and there's definitely a reason for us to be collaborating on different projects. Um, if there was a collaboration, if it happens, we will of course, subject to whatever restrictions we have, we will let you know. But this space needs collaboration. I can kind of say that to you for sure. So
yeah.
that's one. I think the update on Bosch is that we have been very actively developing a lot of solutions for mobility space, which we're working with Bosch and others, and we will be announcing some different other entities joining the foundation very soon. We've been having a lot of conversations, not just in mobility, but also in academia, in retail, and these people are feeding us all the specifications that we would be kind of including in our tech releases. As I said, we have a very significant tech release coming, which we will announce as soon as we're ready to. Um, but it won't be long now, and I
Cool.
think you'll see a lot of different applications coming out of it. In terms of the delivery network, the the code is now kind of in a way that people can interact and participate in it. Again, that's going to be our next release phase, which we hopefully will kind of give you a little bit more understanding within the next couple of weeks. So we'll be announcing the next round of technical releases over the next week or so. So I know it doesn't answer your question in a very direct way, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, a lot of your questions will be answered.
Beautiful. And another quick question too is how is the effort? Because I know that there's a lot of there is a PC desktop interface. For example, the wallet. But when can we get that to mobility? When can transition that, like MetaMask, for example? Yeah. What's the time? Yeah.
Our objective at the moment is really to release very quickly a lot of this AI interactive tools within the wallet. So you can imagine it's a whole kind of resource in itself to transport it into either into a car or into a mobile phone or something else. So we are really busy at the moment creating tools so other people can pick them up and start kind of delivering some very meaningful applications. So this phase in this quarter, that's where we're going to focus on. But hopefully in the following quarters, once we really released enough tools that people and momentum is building, then we'll focus on releasing different specific vertical-based applications.
Yeah, because in my view, the stickiness and the usage of the FETS network and i.e. its token will just the stickiness is mobile.
Yeah.
And if somebody can interact right with their phone or their tablet, primarily the phone, that will increase the
absolutely
value.
Point is definitely accepted and taken. It's just that we need to have a lot of things to release when we go onto the mobile. So, and that's what we're focusing on.
I see. Well, my fear was that if the focus right now is desktop, and then how will that translate or ease into mobility, or is the code being written so that the transition is easy from
that's exactly the point.
Okay.
Yeah. It's written in a way
Perfect.
that we can transport it into the mobile.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, guys. Okay.
Thank you, Code Red, for your questions. Appreciate your enthusiasm and for joining the space. Yeah, we're pretty much at the end of our Twitter Spaces, and we've really enjoyed talking to you. There are a couple more questions in the comments section, but we are unfortunately out of time. So Sabin, Pedro, Humayun, if you want to maybe go into the comment section and answer directly there, that might be an idea. But it has been really, really great talking to you three. Thank you for your alphas. We are definitely going to stay tuned for that. And we host these Twitter Spaces about these roundtables every 2 weeks, and then podcasts in between. So do make sure to tune in if you want to hear more insights from interesting founders in the space. So have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are, and thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. Great to speak to everybody. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.